In this week's Rajamandala, you've looked at the progress or the impact Turkey has made in terms of Pan-Turkism in Central Asia, hard power, soft power, economic as well as cultural. One of the things you point out, which is interesting, is in some ways almost that how under Erdogan, of course, he's using Pan-Turkism as a way to advance Turkey's national interests. Do you think that there is, and you call for cooperation or at least a greater dialogue between India and Turkey, do you think part of that would have to be with India to stop, say, or view Turkey less through this Pakistan-Kashmir prism, on which, of course, there's little denying that Turkey has been very pro-Pakistan in that area?
Exactly. That's the main point. I mean, I think that the answer to Turkey's meddling, shall we say, through Pakistan or Kashmir, should we take a more active position on Turkey's disputes? I mean, Turkey is not a, pure undriven snow. I mean, they have a huge number of problems. So they have their own minorities. The huge problem with Greece, with the Kurds. So I think it's everybody lives in glass houses. So this idea, instead of just saying kuti to Turkey, we should be saying, look, okay, they push you, you push back. But at the same time, like as Erdogan has shown, that you can actually engage. I mean, that you can engage where in other areas where we can work together. Because in Central Asia, at least, I mean, if you leave Pakistan, Afghanistan apart, if Turkey's quest for a broader balance of power between competing powers, it's not very different from what India wants in the region. So the more actors, the more merrier it is. But I think the fact is we should engage them, and I think what Turkey's policy has shown is that look how conservative the Indian debate is. That we constantly worry: are you getting too close to the Americans? Would that mean abandoning non-alignment? Will the Russians get upset? Or if you're buying S-400, would the Americans get upset? Well, Turkey is saying, look, it's a member of NATO, but it is doing business with Russia. I mean, you can't get more close to the Americans than being a member of a military alliance like NATO. But yet, it's playing ball with the Russians. It has got one of the oldest Muslim countries to establish relationship with Israel. It pursues an Islamist politics in the Middle East. So I think people do all kinds of things. I mean, that it is India that somehow either this or that. I remember we always criticize Americans for saying with us or against us. We have the simple binaries. I think Turkey's example is a clear indication. We need to transcend this looking at the world through binaries. And if you're a strong nation, if you're the political will, there's always room to play.
Just taking that forward, if one of the things that Sham Saran on COP26 had just written article for the Indian Express, in which he points out how at least on climate change now, US and China, there seems to be a thaw. And he hints that there. So in similar vein, do you think perhaps if China, of course, we have territorial disputes with at the moment, but just as Turkey has managed to balance NATO and Russia to an extent, there may be time perhaps for India as well to, along with, say, Turkey in that region, however much that is possible, but revive or at least deepen the relationship with Russia wherever possible at the moment, despite Russia's closeness to China?
No, I think which is our policy at this point, that you engage them while you have differences on China, you have differences on even sometimes on Afghanistan, but you keep engaging them. You see, this is the thing, that we're not getting married to Russia. We're not getting married to America. That even when you are, what Turkey is showing, that even when you have the closest relationship, there's room to play. Americans didn't say Turkey should get lost or they'll expel Turkey out of the alliance, because Turkey has value. Turkey's location gives it importance. For all the provocations of Erdogan, Americans are not saying Turkey should get out. In fact, Biden has already met him twice at the European NATO summit and most recently in the G20 summit. So I think it is how strong you feel and how you leverage your location. So I don't think US and China are ready to make a deal yet on climate change. That is the ambition. But there are a huge number of problems. And in China, for example, has always thought it is ready to make deals with the Americans without at the same time giving up its ideology. So I think we should be more realistic and more practical rather than constantly worrying about are we being true to the canon? Have we violated any rules? Are we crossing some Lakshman Rekha by playing, engaging all sides? But our policy has become that. Your Prime Minister Modi sits with Xi Jinping as if there is no invasion in Ladakh. You sit there, you talk to them, but at the same time, you're playing hardball on the boundary. You work with the Americans, you work with the Japanese. But that is how the real world is. And I think that's how more complicated the world is going to become because of the multipolar situation, because of the breakdown of the old order. There is going to be a lot less clarity. So the question should be, what are my interests and how do I pursue them with whoever is willing to work with me?
One thing that at the beginning of the article, you talk about, these are your sort of regional, religious, ideological movements from communism to pan-Slavism, Turkism, non-alignment. Do you think how much do you see? It's difficult to say, of course, but this current moment, this pan-Turkic thing, which has been on the rise, or even Turkey's attempts at Islamism or Islamic solidarity across Asia, how much do you think that is around Erdogan being in power? And if he goes away or the manner in which he leaves, how much of Turkey's orientation changes if there is a change of guard in Ankara?
No, my sense is this policy of pan-Turkism is not limited to Erdogan, actually. That's really, if I point out that Turgut Özal, who was not a Islamist, who was actually a fairly strong secular politician, when he saw Soviet Union break up, Turkey said there is an opportunity, they must take it, because the Turkic people were under the Soviet influence for almost 70 years. So you're willing to take it. So I think Turkey as an old civilization, as a sense of, where Turkish footprint across the world. In the medieval age, the Turco-Mongols were controlling Russian Empire, the Chinese Empire, the Mughal Empire, Iran. So they had a huge spread, and I think they feel very proud of that heritage, and that they're not going to give up. So I think it will outlast Erdogan. In fact, under Erdogan's stewardship last few years, the Turkish economy is not doing well, and the next lot, assuming a secularist wins the presidency next time, and that he disowns the pan-Islamist kind of positions that Erdogan has taken, but he won't abandon the pan-Turkic influence. So Erdogan has played all these. That he's played pan-Islamism where it suits him. He's played pan-Turkism where it suits him. But I think pan-Turkic is far more deeply rooted. And my sense is, whether it is a secular politician or an Islamist politician, Turkey, the sense of its destiny and its history, I think that is here to stay. And more importantly, there is a looseness in the Turkic world. Russia is on decline. America is no longer the dominant power, so it can't do things in the heart of Asia. So for those who got the will, like Turkey, they can do a lot more things. So I think you're going to see the regional powers do a lot more assertion. And within that, Turkey, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Russia, of course, China, everyone will have a role. But until now, we used to think of Russia and America controlling everything. Or we believe China and America will control everything. But these smaller so-called middle powers capability now, they've been exporting weapons, they're doing all kinds of things. So I think they will be a player.
Yeah. Great, sir. Thanks so much. We'll see you next week. Everyone, you should read the article. It is on the indianexpress.com and probably wherever you're watching this video in the description. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Akash.